depending on if this is your first time seeing me. Hi, my name is Janae, and I am specialized in neurolinguistic programming, aka I really love to nerd out on how your mind works. It makes me so happy to use the science behind how your mind works to help you solve problems that have been plaguing you for like ever. So if you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell so that you are notified anytime a new video is posted. And if you are watching on Facebook, make sure you head to the YouTube page after the video so that you can subscribe, because there are some videos that are only posted on YouTube. And I want to make sure that you are tuned in to all of it. So we're going to dive right in. Pretty much as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about one weight loss tip that works for everyone. And before you're like, what? How is that even possible? We're going to dive in, okay? So I feel like we have all had times, specifically as women, where we have set out to turn over a new leaf. We have decided, hey, this time is going to be different than the last time. I am going to show up for myself. I know why I'm motivated to do this. Either it is like, I want to look awesome in this outfit that I have. I want a summer body, whatever. There are all these things that like come where we're like, this is going to give us the motivation that we feel we didn't have before. That is such a huge like trend whenever we talk about weight loss, right? It's like, this time it's a little different. I am setting up the time. I have the yoga like studio signed up. I have a gym. I am getting a personal trainer this time. I'm going to get accountability. And somehow we still end up in the exact same spot before where it doesn't work. And we find ourselves right back where we started, where we're just like, I really thought this time would be different. I set up all these things in order to have a different experience this time. And yet I still find myself banging my head against the wall. And it's frustrating. It's really like, you feel like you're letting yourself down. You feel like you're disappointing yourself, almost to the point where you probably don't even want to tell people that you are trying to lose weight now, because what if they just judge you from the last time when it didn't work? I feel you. I feel exactly where you are, and I completely understand. So that's why, like, stay tuned. If you want to grab your notebooks, you can go ahead and do that. So what you will notice about all the ways that you have probably started to set out on weight loss before is that it is all focused on changing your environment first. So think about it. Whenever you have said, hey, I'm setting out on this new journey, what's the first thing you did? My guess is that you went and you bought some new workout clothes. You may have gotten a gym membership. You may have decided, hey, I actually do need a personal trainer. And so you took care of all these things that are in like around you. What do you see people do who you think are successful in losing weight? And you're like, okay, this is what they're doing. And you're imitating that thing. And then the next step that you take is you're like, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to create this habit of going to the gym regularly. Or it could be, hey, I'm going to create this habit of eating differently, or I'm going to start moving more. Maybe you got like one of those smart watches and you're like, I'm going to hit this goal and it's going to be different. Okay. And then from there, you start to realize what knowledge you have or don't have, right? So that's where your personal trainer comes in. That's where looking up all the newest YouTube videos of how to do certain types of workouts comes in. There's all these steps that you're trying to do in order to get closer to that goal. And stick with me, I'm going to make sense of why it hasn't worked in the past. So you go through that process. All the while, the crutch of this process is that you are solely relying on willpower to get you to your goal, which is a fatal flaw in terms of it's just setting yourself up for success, setting yourself up for failure so that you won't succeed pretty much. Because no one has enough willpower typically to actually get them through it, which is why the success rates of people who start a routine of working out or they start a routine of a certain type of diet don't typically have that for a sustained period of time. It's really, really, really hard for you to actually maintain something like that. So if that's the pattern that you found yourself in, the way to change this is not hard at all, but it comes from pretty much approaching this in the reverse. So instead of looking at your environment first, instead of looking at what do you need to do in terms of knowledge, in terms of behaviors, it's best to start working at this from an identity level. And if you are looking at me with deer in the headlight eyes, that's totally fine. So what that means is, have you ever noticed, like, say you've gotten to the point before where you were like, I was killing my goals. I was at the place that I want to be at again. And at some point of you doing those repeated patterns, you started to actually identify with the identity of being a fit person, whatever that means for you. I'm not at all here to debate what fit is, because that means something different to every single person. But whatever that means for you, after doing it so long, you had an identity to it, which means that even if you missed a day, you would be going back the next day because you knew that that one day was just a fluke. That did not dictate your success overall of you being on this amazing journey that you are already on. And so there are actually ways for you to create an identity before you go through that whole 21 days to make a habit and all of these like things that are all solely based on conscious mind techniques, when there are subconscious mind techniques, so that you can use the mind that you were given for your benefit, because that's what it's there for. It's just literally waiting for you to tap into it. So there are ways for you to actually use your mind to create that identity first. And I can tell you exactly what this means for you and how this is different in terms of making the journey that you are on right now radically different from anything you've tried before. And what it is you missed a day. You are right back on it. It's not I missed a day and now I'm going to beat myself up. And now I have negative self-talk and now I feel shame and now I don't want to go back. No, because that's literally part of who you are. Your mind will actively start to search for ways to fulfill the goal that you have already set out for yourself, without you having to literally feel like you are constantly scraping yourself up off the couch, instead of you coming home and feeling exhausted and trying to convince yourself to go and either make that food that you wanted to eat or go do that activity that you wanted to do. It is something that will be more inherent. Think of everything that you've been doing on autopilot. So maybe you have a habit that you've tried to break and something that it's like so easy for you to just like do and slip into. That's literally what this can be like for you on your journey with using the right techniques and the right mindset techniques along the way. Let me see if there are any questions so far, because I will definitely answer them at the end of this. So if you have questions, just go ahead and like pop them in the chat, and I will definitely come and look at them. But that is what makes it so very different whenever you are trying to make any type of change that is long-term. So when you are taking it from the opposite direction, and this is what we actually call the hierarchy of change. And most times, if you look at how a lot of the industries that support people in weight loss, whether that's the diet industry, whether that is, gyms or all of these other subscriptions that exist, it's actually based around the fact that like you will not know how to appropriately attack change, attack in a positive way. How you won't know how to attack change so that your change won't actually be very sustainable, because there is so much money to be made by people starting, failing. They can upsell you on things because you just didn't know how to make it work. And it always comes back to you, when in fact, there are very, very, very simple ways for you to actually make that change and make it lasting without having that constant yo-yo effect. So let me know if there are any questions. If you're watching this later and you have questions, let me know that as well. But if you are on this journey currently and you are like, hey, I really want to know more about these subconscious mindset techniques, go ahead and hop on over to the Facebook group, free live NLP and hypnosis sections, and I will be having some more information there. And if not, if you have a question later, feel free to pop it in here and I will definitely come back and comment and check on it. And I will talk to you again next time.